Want more of me?
Me?
Go to MeTVFresno.com for schedules, information on your favorite shows, videos, pictures, and more. Go to MeTVFresno.com today. Exclusively brought to you by Ventura TV.
Hello, I'm John Mallos, and welcome to Connect with Me on Comcast Channel 187 and 43.6 if you have an antenna. A very special guest in the studio today. He is Tom Flores. He's from Sanger, a local guy. He's a two-time Super Bowl winner as head coach. He has 4 Super Bowl rings in all. Our conversation with Tom Flores in just a moment.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
As many of you know who watch this program on a regular basis, I'm a big sports fan and a big Raider fan. Have been a Raider fan since 1967. I was a little kid listening to the Raiders on the radio with Bill King, calling the action from the Oakland Coliseum, and fell in love with the Raiders then. And that's why I'm so excited today to have a very special guest in the studio. His name is Tom Flores, the former head coach of the Oakland/Los Angeles Raiders. Let's go to the videotape and I'll show you Tom Flores, and there he is. Of course, a lot of you know he took over for John Madden way back in 1979 as the head coach. You know, Madden was one of the most charismatic coaches that ever coached the game, but Tom Flores had his own style. He was a quiet leader. He was cool under fire. He commanded respect from his own players and opposing players. He coached under some of the most difficult of circumstances. He coached under an owner by the name of Al Davis. He also coached a bunch of free-spirited players, guys like Matuzak and Ted Hendricks. The list goes on and on and on. Yet he won 2 Super Bowls as head coach of the Oakland/Los Angeles Raiders. He's got 4 Super Bowl rings in all. He's one of 3 men to win a Super Bowl as a player, as an assistant coach, and as a head coach 2 times. Yet he's not in the NFL Hall of Fame. We'll talk to him about that. We'll also talk to him about being a role model, a mentor. There he is talking to Jim Plunkett during the Super Bowl and hugging him after they beat the Philadelphia Eagles in New Orleans many years ago. He is also a philanthropist. He is in our studio right now. He is Tom Flores, the former head coach from Sanger. He went to Sanger High School. He's a local guy. He's a great guy, and we're going to talk to him about many things today. Professional sports, professional football, the Oakland Raiders, Al Davis, and all the rest. Stay tuned. You're watching Connect with Me on Comcast 187 and 43.6. Back with more of this show and Tom Flores in just a moment.
I'm Lou Grant. Mary asked me to do a promo for Me TV.
You want to see me, Lou?
Not now, Ted. Watch me on...
Danish donut?
I said not now, Ted. Watch me on Me TV.
You don't like me? I'll fire you.
Watch Mary Tyler Moore. I'll fire you.
MeTV Fresno, now on Comcast Channel 187.
Meow.
There are a lot of people in sports that people think they should look up to as role models, and they're really not role models, especially in this day and age. But I've got to tell you something, my friends. We have a guy in the studio here today, a man who is the real deal and a man that you should look up to as a role model. He has been his entire life, and he's a mentor. And he's Tom Flores, the former head coach, 2-time Super Bowl head coach of the Oakland/Los Angeles Raiders. I'm glad you're here, Tom.
Well, it's nice to be here. It's always fun coming back to my roots, really. Just down the road here in Sanger, that's where most of it happened. And Fresno JC here, up to Stockton, and then, oh boy, that was a long time ago.
Do you get embarrassed when people like me introduce you as a mentor, a role model? You've been that all your life.
Well, I've been called worse. No, I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of what I have done. I'm very proud of what we have done, meaning my foundation in Sanger, and my friends around the country, not just in Sanger, but around the country, have donated to the foundation, including the National Football League. And so all those
It's the Tom
things.
Flores Foundation, right?
Tom Flores Youth Foundation.
Okay, and exactly what is that? Explain.
Well, it benefits, there are 14 K through 8th grade schools in the city, in Sanger Unified. And we give money each year to all schools, all of the schools. 1 year it'll be for fine arts, 1 year for science, and 1 year for athletics. It's a 3-year rotation. And we've been doing it for 23 years, and we've given quite a bit of money to it. Money they don't have, we're trying to enhance their experience so that when they do decide whether they continue, they will continue.
Yeah. Now, you've also been involved in the Boy Scouts. My son right now is a Boy Scout. It's his first year. It's a very exciting experience for him. In fact, he went out shotgun shooting just the other day. Explain what your involvement has been in the Boy Scouts.
Well, I had a tournament in L.A. It started when we first moved down there. I thought, we're the new kids on the block, and we should have something local. So we started a tournament for the Scouts, Scouting with Disabilities. And 25 years I had that tournament. I finally said, it's time to put a new face on it. My face is getting a little wrinkled, and people maybe don't even remember what I did 25 years ago. And over the 25 years, we raised over $3 million for Scouting with Disabilities. We sent them to camp every summer. It's quite an accomplishment.
That is amazing, and you continue to do that. We're taping this segment right now here on October the 5th, 2012 on Connect With Me. We're going to play it back at some point, but this weekend you're in town. I don't want to date this program, but you're in town for your blood drive.
Yeah. Well, the foundation, my youth foundation, Sanger, the county blood people, a gal named Chris Sorensen, who was very persuasive and a wonderful, charming person. She went to the board, Jimmy Gonzalez, and he was the head of the board at one time, and asked if we would be interested, and we were interested for PR as well as other things, and so we sponsored it. And this is the 8th year, and we have locations here in Fresno, in Visalia, and in my hometown of Sanger. I'll be at all venues. I drive and drive and drive.
That's amazing. And you live in Palm Springs, right?
Yeah, I do. So I will be at each venue for at least an hour and a half, and signing autographs, taking pictures, and meeting the people. A lot of the same people, and it's all the Raider Nation people, really. Yeah. You never saw so many Raider people. They're all dressed up in their Raider. It's
I know.
Pretty easy to spot.
They're all from the Black Hole.
Oh, it's easy. I mean, it's the Raider Nation. You go to a Raider game, it's like Halloween. They're all dressed up and they're painted. Their faces are painted. It's
Tom,
pretty
you heard my opening. I mean, my gosh. What else do you have to do to get in the NFL Hall of Fame? I want to put up on the screen. Look at the screen. How many Raiders? There are 19 Oakland, LA Raider players, former players. Look at the screen, Tom. Those are the players, or some that are in the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. Look at those historic names that played for the Raiders. We'll change the screen and show the rest of them. Howie Long is up there. I loved Howie Long and Ronnie Lott. Doggone it, Tom, why isn't your name there?
I don't know. I hope someday, while I'm still alive, that I'll be able to say, there I am. There's my name right there, and I'll be part of that pretty prestigious group.
Is there a prejudice against you or perhaps the Raiders as to why you're not there?
Well, I think the perception for so many years was that Al ran the whole thing, and we were just, it took John a long time to get into it, John Madden.
And he's only got 1 Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
You've got 4.
And so he went in. There's different classifications, and it's very complicated. But it's also a popularity contest, and it's very political as far as East Coast influence.
Yes.
They're going to enshrine the entire Pittsburgh Steelers group, I think, and over Ray Guy. I mean, Ray Guy has been sitting there forever.
Well, I didn't see Jim Plunkett's name on there.
Well, Jim Plunkett this year, he and Ray Guy and Cliff Branch all qualify under the old timers group.
Right.
If you've been out 25 years or more, it's a different selection process, and they qualify, so they have a better chance of making it there.
I didn't even see Lester Hayes' name on there. Maybe he should be in there. I mean, he was great.
That's true.
Here is what Jim Plunkett, your two-time former Super Bowl winning quarterback, had to say about you. If you could turn around and listen to what he had to say about you, should be in the Hall of Fame.
With all the diverse personalities and, you know, guys not exactly abiding by curfews, you know, either during the year or at the Super Bowl itself, Tom had his hands full, let me put it that way. You know, but he, you know, he found a way to, you know, to bring us together, to prepare for each and every game. And it's probably his low-key personality was part of it, you know, making sure we did our job before we went on and had the kind of fun that they were known for having. But, you know, he was very successful, and to think that he doesn't, you know, get any recognition for the job he did. You know, he won 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, basically, and you know, he's overlooked by a slew of other coaches who won one, lost one, you know, or just won one period. And why are they better coaches than Coach Flores? You know, he did his job. He did it with, you know, a cast of characters that, you know, probably a lot of other coaches would have got rid of because they couldn't handle him. But Coach Flores handled them and had them play well for him.
We'll turn you around here, Tom, and get your comment about what Jim had to say.
Well, he's one of my favorite guys, you know, and it's an interesting story because when the Niners let him go, I was the guy that worked him out. John Madden and Al Davis and Ron Wolf watched while myself and another coach, Lou Erber, worked him out to see if he was physically able to do everything. And because I had doubts, and I always liked him. I didn't know him real well, so we decided to sign him. I said, he's fine physically. I don't know what's wrong, why he didn't make the Niners. And so we signed him and made him third string, just let him sit and chill and learn the system. And then my first year as head coach, it was he and Stabler. Stabler was our starter. And my second year, he and Pastorini, and he came up and relieved Pastorini after the 5th game, and the rest is kind of history. You know?
Yeah, it really is. We're going to take a brief time out here. We're talking with Tom Flores, the 4-time winning Super Bowl man. I'll tell you what, he won it as a player, an assistant coach, and twice as head coach. He should be in the Hall of Fame. Back with more of Connect with Me. Stay tuned.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the save energy, save time, save money place. The Energy Star qualified #1 rated high efficiency Cabrio from Whirlpool Place. You heard right. Right now, save big on select Whirlpool Cabrio laundry pairs and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
And welcome back. We're here with Tom Flores, of course. And when you look back at your life in Sanger growing up, in your mind, do you think you have lived like a fairy tale life? I mean, could you have dreamed any other dream besides what has happened in your life? I mean, it's incredible.
No, probably not, because you know, football wasn't that big then. You know, it wasn't on television. Baseball was the biggest thing going in those days, because my dad used to listen to baseball games on our little tiny radio, and we didn't have TV in my house until I was a senior in high school. And yeah, I always loved basketball. That's actually my favorite sport, and baseball, and then football was third, because that was something all my buddies did, so I wanted to play too. They were all older than me. I was always the youngest of the group that I played with, and I could always throw a football. First day I picked it up, I could throw it. So, and it was fun. So we would play in playgrounds and do all this stuff. But, you know, you don't think about it. I mean, there was no Super Bowl. There was no, you know, American Football League. It was just a distant thing that you saw on the newsreel on Saturdays when you went to the movies. And you always saw East Coast teams, Army and Navy with Doc Blanchard. And this is going way back. People don't even remember who those people were. Mr. Inside and Outside, Frank Tripucka from, you know, Frank Tripucka was playing at Notre Dame, and I ended up playing against him when he was with Denver. I started with the Raiders. So I mean, that's how crazy the business, but it's gotten so big. I mean, nobody even thought it would be this big when we started playing.
Right. Do you think you were, I mean, we all know what you did as a coach, do you think you were a better coach or player in the National Football League?
Well, I had more success as a coach. There's no question. As a player in the American Football League, I was one of only 20 of us that lasted 10 years, the entire 10 years of the league, and I still am ranked in the top 10 quarterbacks. I'm still ranked in the top as fourth all-time Raider quarterback. So there are some things that I did. I still, I threw 6 touchdowns in one game against George Blanda, who was playing for Houston at the time. The week before, I had thrown 5.
You played for Houston, Buffalo, Kansas City, the Raiders, right?
I didn't play for Houston, no.
Okay.
No, I started out with the Raiders. I was the very first quarterback.
You were the first quarterback the Raiders ever had.
And George at that time was Houston.
Right.
And so took the first snap from Jim Otto, and it was and the rest is kind of history. And you look back on it and you go, wow.
That's just amazing. Why do you think, when you look back, you were so successful as a coach? Because, I mean, you played under Al Davis, who was a very involved owner. You coached a cast of players that were, some called them renegades, some called them free spirits. Matuzak, Ted Hendricks, Lester Hayes. I mean, I could go down and list the whole roster probably, but why were you so successful under that particular system at that time?
It's I think because I played the game, and I played for Al, so I knew Al. And then I coached with John Madden for 7 years, and Al was always there, and so I knew what to expect. I knew what Al could offer, and Al was a tremendous football person, and I knew what he demanded, and it didn't, the stress and the pressure did not overwhelm me. So I think and then I knew the game. I took pride in knowing the game. One of the biggest things I did, I felt, my team was prepared. I didn't yell and scream, but when they went in the game, they were prepared, and that gave them confidence. And that in itself was what I thought was great.
Tom, I want to turn you around and show you some video. Not that we've never seen what Al Davis looks like. Of course, we all know he passed away at the age of 82 last year. But as we take a look at the video when it comes up, explain what you learned from that man, Al Davis.
Well, I learned the passing game, the way he loved it, the deep ball, the big play. That's what we were noted for. And until the day that he passed on, he still wanted to bring back that segment of the game. I learned you had to be tough. You had to have tremendous endurance, and you had to not be afraid to fail. There were a lot of things that I learned that were really good.
We'll turn you back around here. Was he overbearing, like a lot of people said?
Sometimes he never wore a watch.
How come?
Because he didn't want to know what time it was. He knew if it was night or day sometimes. And I'd get a call sometimes, at midnight, because he was a night person.
Yeah.
And I'd be home, and the phone would ring, and I knew who it was, so I picked it up, and he said, "This is Al," and I said, "Oh yeah, I was just laying there waiting for your call." When I was in the East Coast once, he called me at 3 in the morning. It was only 12 here.
You're preparing for a game.
Yeah,
probably.
well, no, this was when I wasn't even working for him at the time.
Really?
I started my coaching career in Buffalo, and that's what I was there, and that's what I was doing. And so he called me at 3 in the morning, Buffalo time.
Why did he choose you over anybody else when John Madden decided to hang it up?
I think he chose me because he knew that I knew what he had taught me and what I had learned around the league and by playing and coaching, and I knew what to expect, and he knew how to communicate with me.
Yeah, and you knew how to communicate with him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an amazing story, an amazing run. You've had an amazing life. We're going to continue our conversation with Tom Flores here on Connect with Me in just a moment.
Fasten your bones and let's twizzle.
Weeknights, do the twizzle with me.
Everybody, starting doing the twizzle. Everybody, if you're ready to sizzle, you twist a little and you twist a lot. And when you really get hot, that's the twizzle. Twizzle, twizzle.
Weeknights starting at 9/8 Central on MeTV.
Happy to have in our studio Tom Flores, the former head coach, two-time Super Bowl winning coach. And let me ask you, I can't let you get away without asking you about, the Raiders of today. The Raiders were once, gosh, I followed them since I was a kid, as I mentioned, the most feared team in football. Even when you coached, people were afraid of the Raiders. Oh, gosh, the Raiders are coming to town today. There doesn't seem to be that sort of sentiment in pro football anymore. The Raiders are no longer the feared team that they once were. Why do you think that is?
I don't really have an answer. I wish I did. Al was trying to find an answer for it. He was trying to regain the past. It's pretty hard to regain the past because that is just part of history, and sometimes you have to let it go and get on with the future, which is what they're doing now. Without Al, his presence was always there, whether he was on the field or not, and watching the practices. And so I think the legacy is there. But these kids, a lot of them didn't even know anything about the Raiders when we were doing our thing in the 80s and the 70s and in the late 60s and into the 90s. So a lot of them were just 8, 9, 10 years old, and so
some weren't even born.
Yeah, some weren't even born. So they're having to learn the legacy through history. But I talked to the squad once. I said, that legacy is there. It'll be there forever. That's one thing about sports. Sports are forever. You can't take away what happened.
Right.
But it's up to you to recreate the legacy in
whatever,
your image. Yeah.
But whatever it is, that it factor that the team had when you were coaching, when you were playing, when Al Davis was there, all through the 60s, 70s, 80s, that it factor just hasn't been there. What are they not doing, in your opinion?
Winning. Winning. Really. I mean, it all comes down to winning.
But why?
Well, because they've missed on a couple of draft choices, and if you blow, Jamarcus Russell, that set the franchise back 3 or 4 years.
That was terrible.
So you have a couple of drafts like that, and your franchise is set back. The new bargaining agreement has different types of rules, free agency, salary caps, all those things are all new, and you can't hold on to your players, and you can't get players that you used to. Before, everybody wanted to come to us. And we got guys that maybe had time left, like Matuzak, like Alzado, like Hendricks, guys.
Plunkett.
Because it didn't matter. You could always sign them and keep them. You can't do that anymore because of the salary caps, and so it's not as easy to build. So you have to find a different way to build.
So you're saying guys like Ronnie Lott or Jerry Rice that were picked up later in their careers, that no longer happens, huh?
Well, it might happen. It'll happen.
Not as often?
Not as often.
Yeah.
Not as many. So, you have to go about it a different way, and some teams are doing much better jobs than others. New England is one of them. The Giants are that way, and those are all tight organizations.
Right. Quickly, we've got about maybe a minute and a half in this segment. Dennis Allen took over for Hugh Jackson this year, of course, his first year as head coach. I know it's early in the season, but how do you like him?
Well, I like him. I like everything he's done. I was up at training camp, watched the practices. They're very well organized. Everything is very disciplined and well organized, and the players like that. The players want to be led. They want organization. They want to know exactly what's going to happen. And so he's been doing all of those things, but the only problem is they don't have a lot of depth right now. And so that hurts you when you have an injury or two, or in some cases 3 or 4. You got to have strong guys that are ready. And you saw that on Monday Night Football when they didn't have a backup center.
Yeah.
That was disastrous. That was a mistake. They should have had one, but it happened. So don't look back. Go forward and fix it. But he is, I think, doing a good job. Time will tell. Time will tell about he and Reggie McKenzie.
Does Dennis call you for advice?
No. No.
You're probably happy about that.
No,
aren't
I
you?
don't know. They don't need my advice. Listen, you got to do your thing. I mean, he's been hired to be the coach.
I know.
His style, now one thing he does is he does well on the sideline. He controls the sideline pretty good. He's very calm.
Yeah.
I like that part. He's kind of like me a little bit,
Yeah.
John, as you mentioned, Brad was all over the place. I mean, and that was John. But John was excellent on the sideline as well in his own way. And I remember when Al Davis hired me, I said, I'm not Madden, so don't expect me to be that way. He said,
Yeah, but
"Don't
I
worry."
saw you jumping up and down on the sidelines in the Super Bowl against the Redskins. I think it was after Marcus Allen scored the. You were.
Oh, yeah.
You
yeah.
were.
Oh, well, I'll do that, sure.
But you didn't rant and rave up and down.
No,
you
I
just,
didn't.
that
I
wasn't
didn't do
Tom
that.
Flores.
That wasn't me.
Nope. We're going to continue our conversation with one of the best coaches ever in the National Football League. And you know what? Probably a great quarterback, too. I'd have him on my team. We're back with Tom Flores in just a moment.
Nothing could be finer than to be in Carolina in the morning.
High hopes, he's got high apple pie in the sky. Hope nothing could be finer than to be in Carolina in the morning.
And we're back with Tom Flores. Let me ask you about Carson Palmer. You like him? Would you have, if you were still coaching, you'd have him as quarterback?
Well, I would like to have him, sure.
Yeah.
I would, he would be fine with me because he's very tall in the pocket. He's very commanding. He handles himself well, and he's got a very powerful arm. He can throw the ball down the field. So those are all the qualities you look for. And I liked him when he came out of college, even though he only had one good senior year. That's when he won the Heisman. He had a good career at Cincinnati. And last year, it was unfair because he came in late, hadn't done anything for 6-7 months.
He didn't even know the system.
No, 3 days and he's playing in the game. So that was kind of unfair to him. This year, he has at least had the off season. The only thing is he had another new coach, another new system, but he seems to have grasped this system and the no-huddle offense. He likes that, and that seems to be the popular thing nowadays.
And so just to wrap this up about the Raiders this year, the biggest thing that you see with this team is the fact that they lack the depth, basically.
Well, they lack the depth. They have a lot of speed.
Yeah.
A lot of enthusiasm. They're playing hard, but they don't have. They lost their corners, and that has hurt them early in the season. Playing without their starting corners, they need a pass rusher, somebody to step up and be dominating in that department. And then their right tackle got hurt, and you got to have tackles in this league. Right now, they're just not blocking well enough for McFadden. McFadden's a horse. He's a home run guy, but you got to get him past the line of scrimmage.
You know what? He might be the best in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Running backs is
pretty
impressive. He's pretty
and
impressive.
He's a big guy, John.
Yeah.
Big. I mean, he's a man.
Yeah. Tom, what are you doing now?
Well, I do the radio. I do the color for all the games. I get to go all the games. I'll travel with a team if I choose, or I'll meet them at the venue, and I get to schmooze with some of the guys and talk to the coaches, but I leave them alone. I don't come out of the box.
Why don't you retire? You've earned it. You like keeping your hand in it, huh? A little bit.
When you've been in the business for 50 years, you can't just walk away. I mean, it's hard. So, and this is just enough because I can still go back to my house in Palm Springs. I can still play golf during the week, football season. I can go to dinner. I see my wife. I don't get calls at 3 in the morning. Although wherever Al is, I hope he doesn't have a phone because he'll probably be calling.
I never worked for him, but I liked him. I liked Al Davis. I liked what he represented, and he was a winner. He wanted to win, and you can't deny him that.
Absolutely, he was a winner, and if you didn't use his knowledge and his acumen, then you're foolish for not doing so.
Tom, it's awfully nice of you to come by our studios on your way to the blood drive that takes place in Sanger, October the 6th. Again, we're taping this show and showing it at a later date, but we sure appreciate you coming by. I hope you come by again sometime.
Yeah, sure. Sometime when I'm in town. Maybe when I'm in town for my spring golf tournament.
Okay, come on by. Tom Flores, the former head coach, 2-time Super Bowl winning head coach with the Oakland/Los Angeles Raiders. Hey, don't forget, he's got 2 other rings as an assistant coach and a player. That's going to do it for us on Connect with Me. I'm John Malos. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Do you like me?
Just like me.
Like MeTV Fresno on Facebook. Get the latest news, interact with others, watch videos, become a fan of me. Exclusively brought to you by Ventura TV.